Baddha Konasana, also called the Cobblers pose because the cobblers in India used to sit like that. But the Sanskrit name means either bound or caught angle. Baddha means caught or bound. Kona means angle. So most people tend to do it from the Dandasana, from the staff position. Soles of the feet together. Ideally you want the heels on the root chakra, perineum. Now for me to get into this pose, hands behind the bum and lift up and pushing my body, my pelvis forward onto the heels. Now hands on the toes, sit tall. And then you're trying to get the knees down and hinge forward with a flat back. Now there's different levels and different challenges. Taking it a stage further, I haven't got the flexibility for this, but it's coming forward and lying forward, keeping the knees down and ideally keeping the heels on the root chakra. Again, I haven't got the flexibility for that. So to help you get into the pose, in that position there for me personally, I struggle getting my knees down and get my pelvis right forward. Hands behind, lift, push the pelvis forward and sit down. Hands on the feet, on the toes, both hands on, and try and get the knees down. So this opens up the hips, big time opens up the hips. If you've got ankle issues, knee issues and or hip issues, tight lower back, you can have issues with this or problems trying to get into the pose. One thing you can do is either sit on a wedge, a cushion or a block. I've just got this cushion to hand. That's a lot tamer on my lower back now, a lot tamer. I can tend to get the knees down a little bit more and can also bring the heels into that root chakra and keep them there. It's also more advantageous for going forward, but as I go forward on the block in particular, it can be challenging on the feet and on the ankles. Whether you've got the block or not, it can be challenging on the feet or the ankles, especially as you keep the flat back hinge forward. So another alternative to do, so you can either keep the block on the bum or the cushion under the bum and have a block on the feet. And that's much easier for coming forward, getting into the pose. Or conversely, just remove the block. Just practice with the feet on the block. Lift up, get the bum forward, drop the knees down. So get the knees a lot further down now. That is less challenging, so it's opening up the hips, a lot less challenging on the ankles, on the perineal muscles. But in a nutshell, for me personally today, because it will vary from day to day what you're able to do, in that position it's relatively comfortable. I've got a long way to go to try and drop my knees right the way down till the knees touch the floor. You could consider putting bolsters under the knees. I don't actually like that particular one. It's an option. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to open up the knees and try and squeeze them down. Some people, everyone's anatomy is different. You're able to squeeze down with your elbows and your forearms as you hinge forward. And that's the Cobblers, so-called Cobblers pose, page 124.